Hello DMP students, welcome to Fall Session 1 and Biostatistics, that class I know you have all been waiting for. I'm Dr. Michael Hill, I'm the lead instructor for Biostatistics, and I will be leading you through the immersion process. I will be joined in fall by Dr. Sharon Herpin, and the two of us together will be your instructors for the upcoming class. The purpose of this video is to make sure that you have all of the information that you need to be successful at immersion, which is going to be happening the week of August 28th. So let's talk through what those immersion expectations are, kind of give you a brief introduction to what's going on, why we're doing immersion in week 1, help you understand what to expect and how to best prepare so that you can hit the ground running and be successful, not just at immersion, but overall in biostatistics. So why am I emailing you? We've got basically 2 weeks until immersion. Based on classes that have been successful, past classes, we know that students who are well prepared for immersion tend to do better in the biostatistics class overall, much better. We actually have statistics on this, right? Evidence-based practice in teaching. Who knew, right? We use evidence-based practice in designing our immersion, designing our course, and helping students be successful. So giving you this information ahead of time, even though you're still finishing up your summer session 2 classes, gives you time to space out that preparation to make sure it's not a last-minute rush the weekend before immersion, because if you leave everything to that weekend before immersion, you're not going to have everything that you need to be successful on day 1. Immersion is the last week of August, Monday, August 28th to Thursday, August 31st. I know the website says Friday the 31st. Friday is not the 31st, Friday is the 1st. I don't know what that is. Anyway, it is Thursday the 31st. This is a virtual immersion, and the link will be provided in the Blackboard course shell for biostatistics. Please note, I'll mention this later, but I'm going to say it now, you will not have access to that until the Friday before immersion. That's a UMass global policy, so don't be looking for it until the Friday before immersion. Again, the fall instructors will be me and Dr. Sharon Herpin. So immersion is required for all students in DNPU 701. Requests to miss any part of immersion, whether it's an hour, a day, multiple days, have to be petitioned and approved by me and by Dean Shine before the end of immersion week. You want to do this in advance. Work scheduling issues are not approvable reasons to miss immersion. So if you didn't get time off of work to be present at immersion, you need to make sure that you do that now because it is required. If you cannot get the time off to give 100% of your attention to immersion, you need to talk to your academic advisor to revise your education plan. We check attendance. We expect to have your cameras on. And we expect you to be actively engaged. And if you're not actively engaged, or if it is clear that you're at work or in a car or not doing what you're supposed to be doing for immersion and not engaging with the material, you will have to petition and you may be dropped from the course. We track all of that engagement. You have to sign in. You need to have your video camera on. Make sure that you are there and present. There's no excuse. This is a doctorate level class in a doctorate program. That's what you've committed to. There is no excuse for that. If you have accessibility needs related to a disability, pregnancy, anything like that, make sure that you contact the Office of Accessible Education immediately so that we have time to provide virtual support. So why are we doing immersion in week 1? Well, we do this to help clarify expectations for the class, to help give you practice with the technology, SPSS, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, and the other things that are really important to making sure that you have a successful experience in biostatistics. It helps provide a refresher on statistical concepts so that everybody is starting at the same level. It gives you direct contact with the instructors and advanced starts on assignments. We're going to complete things at immersion so that you start the class with an A and then you can keep it for the rest of the class. That's why we do it. And most importantly is to help relieve anxiety. Math anxiety is a real thing. We know that this is a class that inspires anxiety for students. Right? I understand that. However, if you go into it with an open mind, if you try hard not to get caught up with what you've heard or the rumor mill or thinking about how hard math is, you can overcome that anxiety and have a successful experience. And that's what this is about. So being prepared is the first step to being successful. So what do you need to do to be prepared? First of all, read the email thoroughly that this video was attached to. Download and install SPSS. watch the videos that have been provided, start the readings ahead of time, and then that Friday before immersion, make sure you get logged into Blackboard. If you're not logged in on Friday, you're going to be getting an email from me saying, hey, this is where the materials are. You need to be ready to go. So let's talk about SPSS. Okay, SPSS is basically a fancy calculator for statistics. You're going to download from onthehub.com the SPSS version 29 grad pack. Older versions are okay, but I don't really strongly recommend them. I recommend that you get the most recent version. Can save a lot of trouble. If you are on a Mac, minimum needs to be 28 or higher. Okay, so making sure that you have SPSS, again, very important before we start immersion, because you're going to be doing activities on the first day with SPSS that are going to require that you be prepared, right? So go to onthehub.com. The link is in the email, and you are going to find SPSS. You can look down here in trending products. It's almost always over here in trending products, or you can go up to shop and then SPSS. Either way is okay. What you need to make sure that you get is SPSS for students version 29. So here we go, SPSS 29 grad packs, right? The grad packs. You need to make sure that you have the appropriate version, whether you've got a Windows or a Mac, and make sure that you have picked the standard grad pack. Okay, for a 12-month rental, it is about $90. For a 6-month rental, it is about $60. This is down from $1,200, so you're getting a huge discount on this through UMass Global. Make sure that you get the standard grad pack. If you get base, it will not work. Make sure you get the standard grad pack. You can pay the extra money and get premium. We won't be using it, but you do need to have the standard grad pack. Make sure you pick that. When you add that to your cart, and then check out through your cart, you are going to need to log in using your UMass Global email. So you're going to need to sign in or register. You will need to sign in using your UMass Global email and follow through that process. This will walk you through how to download it. It will give you an activation code that you're going to need to put in, and there are a couple of video tutorials that walk through that process. It's fairly straightforward if you read the directions. That's going to be a common theme throughout this class. Read the directions. Okay, so make sure that you get SPSS downloaded, installed, and running on your computer before immersion. And the videos that have been included in this email will help you get it set up and prepared. Okay, then make sure that you log into Blackboard the Friday before immersion. You'll see the DNPU 701 course information, find the syllabus, get into the course schedule, and make sure that you review week 1. It's important to understand that this is an intense course. Make sure that you have the time set aside for it, right? So we'll talk about this at immersion, but note that there are assignments that are due every week. There are things that are going to be expected from you every week of the course. And it can help to remember that UMass Global courses are semester level courses. We are taking content from a 16-week class and cramming it into an 8-week class. Right? It doesn't mean we're doing less work. It means that we are doing double the work in half the time, right? So make sure that you are prepared. UMass Global expects that students do about 5.5 hours of what we call engaged learning each week. That means engaging with the materials in Blackboard, making sure that you're watching the videos, making sure that you're doing the readings, and about 11 hours of student work per week, for a total of 16 to 18 hours per week. You will likely use that time in this class. So be prepared to put that time in, because what we find is the students that don't do well are the ones that are spending a minimal amount of time in Blackboard, that are not putting the time and the effort into watching the videos, and we see all of that. So if you get to the end of the class and you're getting a grade that is less than what you expected, and we go back and look and see that you haven't been watching the videos, that you haven't been going into Blackboard, the question then is, what do you expect? You will get out of this class what you put into it, and that is the key. Put the work into the class. And remember that you're going to have support. There are going to be extensive office hours from both of your instructors. We have immersion that we're getting ready for. There are video tutorials online. UMass Global has a statistics tutoring center. You can put this work in. And if you're feeling like you're not ready, there are a number of resources. There are videos in Blackboard that will help refresh basic statistical skills. Sage has these cheap $3 little fixed books that give you kind of review of basic material, basic math, basic statistics. Google things, YouTube things, right? Professor Google, Professor YouTube, Khan Academy, and the UMass Global Math Tutoring is all available. Everything that you need to be successful is in the class. Nobody should have to hire an outside tutor. Nobody should have to get somebody to do their work for them, which we'll talk about at Immersion, and that's a good way to get expelled. You need to make sure that you're setting the time aside, and you will get through the class. All right, so this checklist has been included in the email. I would recommend that you go through this and make sure that you are ready to go. So make sure that you have Zoom ready to go, that you know how to use it. You got audio and video. SPSS should be installed on your computer. Make sure that you've watched the tutorials, watched the video Why You Should Love Statistics, and have your textbook. That's the 2010 Statistics and Data Analysis for Nursing by Pollitt. Have a copy of the APA 7th edition handbook. Make sure that you've read the CSP handbook that was given to you in the first class. A link will be in Blackboard too. And then make sure that you have access to 3 quantitative articles. That means research articles with statistics, quantitative research related to your DMP project. During Immersion, in the first week, you should be reading Chapter 1 of the Pollitt textbook. You could do that ahead of time. You should be reading the Zellner article that's been attached in this email. You could do that ahead of time too. You should read the Robinson et al. Article. You can do that ahead of time. And the Dickman article. Those are all things that you can read ahead of time. And the Geiger-Brown article that's been attached too. Reading these in advance will save you time during Immersion week. And then during Immersion, we're going to complete the SPSS lab, group case study, quiz A, and we're going to begin working on your data collection and analysis plan. All of that we're going to do together at Immersion to help make sure that you are successful in the class overall. If you have questions, please send me an email. Make sure that you have set the time aside, that you have a quiet space where you can be by yourself and stay focused. I do not recommend doing Immersion with a group. That is the best way to be distracted. You will miss things. Don't do that to yourselves, right? Make good choices. Stay focused. This class is different from prior classes because we're working out different intellectual muscles. Everything else up until this point has been clinical. This class is not. And so it's gonna, just like going to the gym, if you haven't gone for a long time, you start lifting those weights, it's gonna hurt a little bit. It will pass because we're working out a different intellectual muscle group than we have been. But all of you can do this. I'm looking forward to seeing you all at Immersion.